There's a new trend forming, and it's living in your car. This is my home.
I live in my car because the cost of living. I have been outpriced at the rental market.
Sorry, just gotta stop you there. It's not a trend. This is not a trend. This is survival instinct.
Newsflash, I don't want to live in my car. But this is the only thing that made sense in order to live the American dream. The reason why I am living in my car is because I want to be able to have money for my future.
I told myself I would never cry on the internet because I think that's so lame. But I just got our rent renewal thing for our apartment complex, and it's going up by $300 a month.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right, with every passing day, more and more Americans are facing the real threat of becoming homeless due to the high cost of living and tough economic times.
Right, and today's question before we delve into the videos we've prepared for you is, how many of you have ever been faced with the choice of either going homeless or choosing an alternative like living in your car, or others have even chosen to live in the storage unit?
Right. Let us know what you think about this on the comment section. Also consider subscribing if it's your first time here. But first, let's watch what we prepared for you, and then we come back and talk about it.
Sorry, just gotta stop you there. It's not a trend. This is not a trend. This is survival instinct. For countries that have collapsed and the rent is too expensive and the food is too expensive and all the prices are too expensive for a single person or even two people to afford to pay the rent, this is what happens. You end up living in your car just to survive. It's not a trend. Let's be very, very clear about that. But there are solutions. And unfortunately, it means moving and living in another country. As you can see, the prices here in the Western world, where it's modern and forward, right, are just too expensive. This is England, and here we go. Let's look at America. These prices, according to the, the jobs, it's not enough. You won't be able to save money. You won't be able to do anything. But here's the prices here in Asia. And do you think you'll be able to afford that? Basically, you can have 6 months here for 1 month there. Do you think people are living in their cars in Asia? Asian people, let us know in the comments if you see this video.
Newsflash, I don't want to live in my car. But this is the only thing that made sense in order to live the American dream. The reason why I am living in my car is because I want to be able to have money for my future, to have an investment. I want to homestead. I want to be able to do things that I wouldn't have been able to do by working a full-time job, actually 2 full-time jobs, in order to pay rent going into the ethers, because inflation is skyrocketing while stagnant wages are there. I also don't want to invalidate people who are actually struggling in homelessness because of mental illness. You're seeing a new wave of homelessness because of the economy. And yes, there are some people that are living in their cars, buses, vans by choice, but mine is for a future. That's why I'm living in my car. And that's why you're going to see more and more in this generation living in their cars.
I told myself I would never cry on the internet because I think that's so lame. But I just got our rent renewal thing for our apartment complex, and it's going up by $300 a month. $300 for a 1-bedroom apartment that is not updated in any sort of way. And our complex doesn't even have nice amenities. We have a tiny pool and a tennis court. This is not a luxury apartment complex. We already pay, with all the fees and everything included, $2,000 a month, and now we're going to be paying $2,300 a month for this tiny apartment. And that's just so frustrating. I don't understand how people can live in this world anymore, and I just don't want to move again because that's so much work and more money, and it's stressful trying to find another place, and it's just so annoying. And now I feel like I need to get a new job. And I just got this job and I like it, but it's not paying me nearly what I need. And so now I'm gonna have to go through applying to jobs again, which I did for a whole year plus until I found this job. So I'm gonna have to go through all of that again. It's just not fair.
I'm broke and I live in my car. I have a full-time job at Jack in the Box and I just got off work. I'm really trying to get a studio, an apartment, something, but I only have $1,000 saved up and I can't find anything around that price. So I'm literally coming to terms that I'm going to be living in my car for the summer. I don't mind living in my car. I mind living in my car in the summer. I have 1 month. I have maybe 1 month before summer gets super bad here in Arizona. So I'm gonna try to save as much money as I can. And one of the things I'm gonna do is try eating inside my car. I bought this little pot and I'm not gonna be cooking anything crazy, but just things that are easy for me to cook. I do have a fridge now, so I can now cook sandwiches, maybe ramen, scrambled eggs, and I should also probably start eating a little bit healthy, but I've been craving this ramen for a very long time. And if my car ever gets super hot when cooking, my car's a convertible, so I'll just open the hood and let all of the smelly ramen come out through the top part. Well, now I'm gonna enjoy my ramen and watch TV and then go to sleep because I work tomorrow.
Okay, so I am homeless and I'm living a double life. Let me kind of explain that. So I have a home and I live in it 3 days a week. My lease ends at the end of June, so I will be homeless full time. But right now, 4 days out of the week, I work at another place about an hour away from my home and I live in my car. It's a good tester run for me because I will be doing it full time. So if any of you have tips, tricks, and it's not like the glamorous like van life with heaters and showers and toilets, it is a car. I live in a car. I will be living in this car until it dies on me. But I'm trying to get out of debt. So I'm working 2 full-time jobs. One with the homeless, so I have been working with the homeless population for over 6 years. Have never really understood homelessness until now, and even now my homelessness is glamorous to them. But I've never done this before, and I'm quite curious, like, if any of you have lived in a car, what are your tips, your tricks, all of that fun stuff, because I will be doing it full time and I'm very excited to do it. I will make my money and then get a place eventually, but I have some goals and bills that I really want to pay off first. And with today's economy, it just doesn't seem like it's possible at this moment for me to do both. So this is what I'll be doing. I will continue to do things, update things if it's necessary.
Now, I don't know who needs to hear this, but you don't have to have money to live in your car. And you gonna save money. You're gonna save money. So you can just do what I did. I broke my lease, moved out of my apartment, and moved into my car. So that's why I was able to quit my job so that I can live in my car and travel the country.
How are we expecting people to rent when they have to pay first and last month's rent plus a security deposit? I have a family member, he's not on this app, and he is trying to get into an apartment complex, big corporate-owned apartment complex here in Tampa. 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 800 square feet, $1,600 a month. They have horrible reviews on Google, not a great part of town, but it's what he can afford right now, and you know, it's gonna be, he knows it's a temporary thing. So he asked me if I'd be willing to co-sign on this apartment because this apartment complex is asking for first and last month's rent plus a large security deposit. And I said, no problem. I'd rather you take that money that you would normally have to apply towards the application process to get moved in and instead focus on like buying yourself groceries when you get moved in and having the funds to set up your utilities and all the things. And I went ahead and submitted all the documents that they asked of me, which was 3 months worth of bank statements, our 2023 tax return, as well as copies of contracts and payments made from my clients because I'm a 1099 employee, to show them that basically if for some reason he weren't able to pay his rent, it would default to me, and including my social security number, so they'd come after me. No problem. I trust this family member wholeheartedly and have no issue doing that. So I submitted all those documents and they called him today. And yes, they are still asking for first and last month's rent and they are still requesting a security deposit. They lowered it. But let me just set the stage here. $1,600 a month is the rent. I provided them documentation to show that one of my clients, just one client that pays me in a month, would cover over 12 months of his rent. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying this because this is the level of absurdity we have reached. You have someone that's co-signing to ensure that that apartment is paid for, that has proof, documentation, proof of funds to show that just one of my payments from one of my clients in a month that I provided a contract to show would cover his rent for the entire year. And yet that's not good enough to waive a security deposit or still make him pay first and last month's rent. What are we doing? Like, why are we making Gen Z like not be able to have a place to live? This is absurd. Like, I don't understand why somebody needs to be making over $1 million to show that you could waive the security deposit and not make them pay last month's rent. Like, I essentially showed them collectively that my husband and I make, I'm not going to say how much it is, but it's absurd. Because if he doesn't have a cosigner, like, how do people move into those places then? I don't get it. I don't understand what we're doing to this generation. Then I see a news report that mortgage rates are climbing back up again, 5-month high, 6.85%. I ain't buying in that market unless I can pay cash. So we rent. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that for us. But I'm also 20 years older. Like, and I've already lived, I don't, like, this is stupid at this point. I guess, what is that generation supposed to do if you don't have somebody co-signing for you? How do you expect them to come up with that type of cash for $1,600 a month rent? I don't understand what we're doing here. I don't understand it.
Hey everybody, my name is Tyler, and because of the out-of-control inflation that we're having in our country right now and rent prices being over $1,500 a month, I have been outpriced at the rental market, and I live here in my car full-time, and I wanted to give you a brief tour. So starting with the bed here, it is a 3-inch memory foam mattress topper. Super comfortable. I have about 4 layers of blankets, which keeps me warm, especially right now we've got 20-degree weather at night, so it's pretty cold. Moving over here, I have my cooler. I've had a few people tell me I'm not supposed to have this cooler because I live in my car, but it actually was a birthday gift last year for my 30th birthday, and I just can't part with it. I absolutely love it. Keeps all my food cold and fresh for days. I absolutely just adore this cooler, so I'm not gonna get rid of it. And in the back there, you can see I have 2 really comfortable pillows. I'm about 5.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about this episode in the comment section. Also consider subscribing if it's your first time here, right? This topic, I feel like it's a very important topic because it's shedding light into the lives of a lot of people in America right now. And the saddest part is that, okay, let me take you back a little bit. The first clip of the person who was talking about living in cars becoming a trend, I would have agreed with this if it was only for social media, because there was a point in time where people were living in cars or converting RVs or things like that into mobile homes so that they could create content. But right now, this is a real thing that is happening, and you can no longer call it a trend because people are choosing to live in cars, which is quite sad, rather than go homeless. And this is only happening because of the high cost of living in America right now, right? And also another thing that one of the speakers was saying is, for someone was saying that in the next month she's going to go completely homeless, and currently she is semi-homeless because her lease is almost ending and she can no longer afford her rent. So she wants to start living in her van in order for her to save some money for her personal use. And guys, for it to reach a point where someone is choosing to become homeless and live in their car rather than look for a house, I do feel like that is usually not an easy decision, and only if you found yourself in such a dire situation can you understand what today's speakers are saying, right? And there's also another speaker who talked about, I feel like the next words I'm about to say, it's quite strange, all of them being found in one sentence. And she said, I'm broke, I live in my car, and I have a full-time job. And you guys, I don't know how you can fathom how sad this is, because I cannot imagine how Americans are feeling right now, but I can only think of them because it's not comfortable to live in your car and it's not normal to live in your car. As human beings, the way we were made, we are meant to have space. Even your mental health is going to suffer if you're living in such a condition, you know. But what else choice do they have? Imagine somebody working a full-time job, but they still speak of them being broke. Somebody working a full-time job and they're still talking about them not being able to afford a home. And I feel like this is really, really sad. It's not normal and it does not sound normal, you know. So someone also said that the rent where they're living at went up by $300 and it is a one-bedroom apartment. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money because I did my conversions when she was talking. $300 equals to 38,000 Kenyan shillings thereabout, right? And 38,000 Kenyan shillings, that is someone's whole month worth of rent. And in Kenya, it can accord you certain privileges, at least most definitely not a lot, but it can accord you certain privileges per month as you live on it. Right. And even if you're talking about people who are living in their cars, we also have to recognize that as bad as it sounds, in America right now, that is beginning to look like a luxury option compared to those ones who are going totally homeless. Right. And I don't know, okay, somebody said this is the one of the signs that a great nation is falling. And I'm like, okay, where is it that, guys, reason with me, is it that there's a lot of people in America, or I don't know if you can say worldwide, but let's talk about America because that's the point of focus right now. Is it that America has so many people to the point where they had to create an economic crisis so that others could just fall off? Or is it that the oligarchs are doing their thing and they're pushing people into desperation? And if that is the case, where are all the end goal? What is the end goal? And where are all because I do believe that there's plenty of homes in America, but why is it that there's not enough housing for everybody in America? Affordable ones at that matter. You know, I feel like a system is broken somewhere in America, but much as we are talking about that, I do believe that there's somebody who's always benefiting from a certain type of chaos. You know, there are those ones who are benefiting. For example, when you look at America right now, a lot of its citizens are going homeless, but you also ask yourself, how is it that some foreigners can come in and be able to afford life the way they do? Because you see them on TikTok. And my answer would be, somebody somewhere is creating a situation on purpose, and it's by design, you know, because if you look at a certain group of people, why are they able to afford the things that the real Americans are not able to afford? Just the other day, President Trump spoke of importing South Africans. You know, if you're not able to take care of your own citizens, your own people, to the extent where some of them are going homeless, why are you looking at another country that is far away to house their people who are in need? And furthermore, even pay them allowances. Exactly. While in America, there are people who are even finding it difficult to find jobs. So yeah, to even eat, leave alone 3 square meals, just 1 square meal in a day, you know. And what if you took all that support you're giving to a different country, because you don't need more people coming in to exhaust the already exhausted resources? How about you look at your own borders and look at how people are struggling and try and find a solution for that, you know? How about you look at programs that, instead of trying to end this program, trying to cut off Medicaid, you know, trying to do this and that, how about you take the resources you normally push out towards different agendas in other countries, you take those resources, put them together, and see how you can better hold your country, you know? Right. I'm just saying. Right. One thing that President Ibrahim Traore said that has always stuck with me, and listening to this Americans' plight, it also kept replaying in my mind, was, if the citizens of your country are sleeping hungry, if the citizens of your country don't have basic need like a home, they will never be productive to build a country, you know. And I'm looking at America, with the rate of homelessness that is increasing right now, that is the one most basic need that every human being needs, and every human being is entitled to. Why does the president not put measures to bring affordable housing to America? And if Americans are in a good place to afford good shelter, and they'll be in a good place to afford good food, and hence they'll be better productive in America. Yeah, if I can just ask a question, is it that these leaders who are in the government, who are holding those positions right now, is it that right now your goal is not to strive to make America great again? Okay, not to make America great again, but for America to remain what America was, for people to continue seeing? Or did they get tired of putting up, those images, the facade, because it was quite sad to hear a very young girl talk about how she has to choose her future, and her choosing her future meant that she stops living in a house for her to start living in her car because it's cheaper, and for her to save up some money. That is really sad, and it's not normal, right? It just makes me wonder how America a few years from now is gonna be looking like, because in the same time, those who can't afford living in their cars, the ones who can still afford, there are a big group of people who are choosing to opt out of America, and if possible, go and live somewhere else where their money can go a mile. The problem with this is, wherever it is they're going, I feel like, let me just talk about Kenya, right? Right now, there are a lot of expats from a lot of different regions in Kenya, and it has made the local Kenyans suffer because the areas where they go to settle, prices become very expensive. And when the government sees this is happening, well, the government is just the government. They also introduce laws to take advantage of not only the foreigners, but also locals, So this situation, I don't know how it's going to be remedied, or what policies will be put in place to change it. Although someone once said, when you look at the African situations, African politicians usually like when African people remain poor because they're easier to control. So this begs the question, in America right now, how people are dropping into poverty levels in a big number, is this deliberate so that they can be easily controlled? Because as of right now, what the whole world knows Americans for is that they know how to speak up for themselves, and they're difficult to control like this because they carry minds of their own, Yeah. So are they being slid into poverty so that they can be easily controlled? I don't know. That's a good question, because I'm still thinking of the lady who's saving up for her future. Okay, let's assume a few years from now, situations are still the same. You've saved up enough, you can be able to move into a home, and do whatever it is you wanted to do for your future. If it's education, if it's, putting up a business, starting something, Let's assume she gets to do that. How quickly do you think she's going to deplete her resources before she goes back to this point, if things are not changed in America, or if policies are not improved? I feel like it's just the same cycle, unless the leaders really truly choose to put in the work and change the laws. I feel like the situation is still going to be the same, sadly to say. Right, so guys, let us know what you think about this episode, and also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel, and we'll see you on our next episode.